WCBI News at 6 starts now.
Good evening, everyone. The man found dead on the side of a Lowndes County road this morning is identified. 28-year-old Lorenzo Halfon Jr. was found this morning on Burns Road just before 8. Coroner Greg Merchant says an autopsy will be performed. Lowndes County detectives are not releasing much information like how the victim died or what may have led up to his death, but they are treating it as a homicide.
A little after 7:30 this morning, motorists traveling on Burns Road saw what appeared to be an African-American male laying in a ditch and called 911. At that time, deputies responded to the scene and discovered a deceased male, and foul play is suspected. We're treating this as a criminal matter, and we're asking for the public's help. Anyone with knowledge to this case is asked to call the Lowndes County Sheriff's Department and or the Golden Triangle Crime Stoppers.
Of course, this is a developing investigation, and we will bring you more information when it's released. A Starkville man is accused of threatening to shoot a police officer. Jermaine McKinney is charged with 3 counts of threatening to harm a sworn peace officer. Court documents show McKinney was arrested on East Garrett Road after Starkville police reportedly found crack cocaine in his pocket. In the affidavit, officers alleged McKinney threatened to shoot the officer at the Wcbi County Jail, and this incident remains under investigation. A man accused of stabbing his ex-girlfriend is formally charged in Tishomingo County. Felix Perez Carrillo is charged with burglary of a dwelling and aggravated assault. The incident happened this past Sunday on County Road 246. The victim had cuts to the head and torso. She was later treated and released from a local hospital. The suspect was later arrested in West Memphis, Arkansas. His bond in Tishomingo County is set at $250,000, and more charges are possible. In the past month alone, juveniles have been behind dozens of crimes in Starkville. That according to SPD. Crimes ranging from vehicle burglaries, pursuits, aggravated assaults, and even most recently, shootings. WCBI's Bobby Martinez talks with Starkville's police chief and a youth court judge about what needs to be done to keep kids out of trouble.
It has been a repeated cycle here at Starkville Police Department this year alone. Juveniles arrested and facing severe charges, and in result, putting their future in jeopardy. And Starkville Police Chief Mark Ballard is pushing for a change to help these juveniles stay out of trouble.
Too often when the individual becomes 18, they're lost into a criminal justice system.
In just a blink of an eye, one bad decision can change one's life forever. And in Starkville, juveniles and bad decisions have gone hand in hand, says Chief Mark Ballard.
Over the past month, we've had, since our last report, we've had 11 stolen weapons that are related to auto burglary. Most of our auto burglaries are driven by juveniles. We've had vehicle pursuits, and we've had aggravated assault.
And it was just last week, Starkville Police Department responded to a shooting here on Everglade Avenue, where 2 teens were charged with attempted murder, and the mother of one of those suspects were also charged with aggravated assault.
And to Ballard, enough is enough. Change needs to happen now.
We're continually keeping a focus upon the juveniles and trying to bring the system up to 21st century. Make sure it's got the proper mentorship, the proper funding, everything that this community needs to have at this stage of the game.
Wcbi County Youth Court Judge Lydia Quarles says a majority of juvenile arrests are men, and some who may lack a father figure in their life.
Well, I can only tell you what the literature says. The literature says that it is a tremendous impact, that boys love their mamas, but they pay attention to their daddies.
Quarles says a positive role model is one way to help juveniles head in the right direction.
One of the things that Chief Ballard and I have talked about is the possibility of having some kind of intramural sports, something, so that these kids could be placed with law enforcement officers and they would see them as a friend as opposed to an enemy. And I think that actually law enforcement could make great headway in being a role model for some of these children.
And Ballard is hoping whatever solution is put in place to help these juveniles stay out of prison will help break the trend of seeing this repeated cycle. Reporting in Starkville, Bobby Martinez, WCBI News.
A scary crash in Monroe County this afternoon. It appears the maroon Dodge Neon you see there on your screen left Highway 45 and flipped near Lackey Road. State troopers say Christopher Butter of Minneapolis, Minnesota was driving the car and had minor injuries. Other vehicles appear to be involved in the accident. Monroe County deputies are investigating the crash.
We've got some high clouds across the region. Our Alpha Insurance camera network shows you that. Temperatures in the 80s in many spots, too. We also have a few isolated showers and thunder showers. A bigger batch, though, moving through Lafayette County back to the northwest. Some thunder and lightning, heavy downpours here in Oxford. And a couple other cells trying to get back down to Calhoun County, northwest of Eupora. We have one, and a little thunder shower trying to fall apart there southwest of Starkville. So a few blips on radar. We still could see a few additional storm cells here this evening, and then probably more in the way of spotty activity after sunset. We'll just throw that into the forecast ahead a bit. We got 80s now, then 70s through the evening hours, lows in the 70s here. Another muggy night. There you have it. Heat, humidity, 90s, the heat index into the triple digits. More scattered storms. We have all of that coming up for the long holiday weekend. More specifics in just a few minutes.
The lack of broadband internet service is an issue that's been plaguing the state for years. Now, help is on the way. That help comes from the Mississippi Electric Cooperative Broadband COVID-19 Act, which lawmakers passed this week. Our Quentin Smith joins us live in the studio to explain the details. Quentin?
Yeah, Joey, of the more than $1 billion the state received in coronavirus relief funds, $75 million is going towards broadband expansion. In particular, it's going towards those in rural areas. State leaders say this pandemic is exposing the lack of broadband services in certain parts of the state. Now they're hoping these funds will help solve that issue. Many school classes are now being taught online, and more people are working from home. This new normal during the COVID-19 pandemic is creating difficulties for rural Mississippians. That's why state lawmakers came up with the Mississippi Electric Cooperative Broadband COVID-19 Act. It's a bill that Public Service Commissioner Brandon Presley says he's definitely in favor of.
This is the largest allocation of funds, both on the state level and private dollars, for broadband expansion in the history of the state.
$75 million will go towards the grant program, but here's the catch. Each co-op that participates has to match each dollar the state spends. So, in all, $150 million is being used to help improve internet services in these areas all throughout the state.
This will be a grant for construction and connection. And so these grants will go out to not only build the backbone, the fiber backbone to get to these areas that lack service, but also everything from taking that individual service drop into the home of each customer. So it is a full package of broadband connectivity.
Each electric cooperative in the state has the option to be a part of this program, but if they choose to do so, they must act fast. The deadline to apply is July 17th, and the money will be sent out by the end of the month.
You've got folks now that are totally reliant on satellite internet service, which is very costly, and the speeds are not all that great. This grant program requires a minimum speed of 100 megabits upload and 100 megabits download, which is very fast internet speed. It's above the average in Mississippi.
Presley says how fast each home and area receives internet service is all based upon how fast their service provider can begin work.
Almost all of the areas that will be applied for in this grant program under the normal course of broadband expansion would be the last people that would be hooked up simply because they're in the most rural areas. Well, we're reversing that in this grant program and actually going to the people who in a normal course of business may have been the last house hooked up. They will actually be where we start.
Now, at this time, Governor Taylor Reeves has not signed the bill, but Presley says he expects him to do so in the coming days.
Golden Triangle Regional Airport is getting more grant money from the FAA. Senators Roger Wicker and Cindy Hines-Smith announced today over $15 million for improvements at 22 Mississippi airports. GTR's share is nearly $4 million. That's on top of just over $650,000 from the CARES Act that was enacted after the coronavirus pandemic. The funds will go partly to making repairs to the runway.
Overall, the project will last about 6 weeks. The actual paving on the runway takes about 21 days, and they've got to do some of the taxiway work too.
Now that work begins in August. Hainsey says overall this year alone they'll do over $5 million in work to make the runway safer, including adding LED lights. The Mississippi Department of Transportation reopens a busy Choctaw County roadway. Highway 9 has been shut down since February. More than $1.1 million in repairs were needed after heavy rainfall caused the road to crack. New drainage structures and steel pilings were added in addition to the 565 feet of improvements to the roadway. Transportation officials estimate 1,800 drivers use that highway every day. If your plans on the 4th of July include a road trip, expect to see the Mississippi Highway Patrol. Now, they'll be out in full force beginning at midnight. All available troopers will be conducting patrols and checkpoints. The holiday travel period also kicks off MHP's Drive Right Mississippi campaign. It focuses on enforcing the left-hand lane law and watching for distracted and impaired driving, speeding, and seatbelt usage. The 4th of July holiday period runs from midnight through Sunday. The Drive Right campaign runs through the entire month. Some MSU students are getting a different kind of financial aid. We take a look at how COVID-19 costs are being covered.
You're watching WCBI's News at 6 with Joey Barnes.
Welcome back, everyone. Mississippi State University distributes nearly $9 million in CARES Act funding to students affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. The money was given to students that had expenses related to the disruption of campus operations. Over 11,000 students received the money. Award amounts ranging from $600 to $800 were based on the student's application and FAFSA.
Anything from, helping reimburse for some new technology for laptops or computers, home internet, books, anything like that that they needed as well to help get them through the spring semester.
All eligible students have received funding. All right. Well, Keith, looking at the map behind you, it appears the heat index is going to be, what, hotter than a firecracker?
Oh, well, you know what? I don't know about that. Close.
Close?
It feels like it, though. Tell you what, tomorrow, outside of any storm, the heat index with 100, if not a little bit higher than that. And that'll be the story all weekend long. Your holiday weekend forecast is next. Stay with us.
Your WCBI First Alert AccuWeather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson.
Our long holiday weekend is here. The 4th of July, obviously, coming up on Saturday. Now, this weekend will be warm and humid. It will feel like 100 degrees at times. Scattered rain and storms primarily during the heat of the day. Not as prolific as what we've had around here, we don't think, but still some scattered storms out there. Typical summer weather for this time of year here in the Deep South. Your Saturday, 4th of July, low 90s here, 90, 91, 92, with some storms possible. Outside of those storms, it will be warm and steamy. Now, we have started off July with a lot of rain over the last 2 days here, folks. Anywhere from 1 to 8+ inches of rain. We've had several stripes of rain. Winston County from Pontotoc down to Aberdeen yesterday morning, also across parts of Tennessee, northwestern Alabama, northeastern Mississippi. Let's just say it's been a wet stretch here as we start out a new month. This is a very wet year. We just keep adding amount after amount after amount. And still some showers here and dying thunder showers west of Starkville. Also up here near Oxford, a big batch of rain. This is moving south. So watch out, Water Valley. You may see some good downpours here and some thunder and lightning in the not too distant future. The most intense activity just to our northwest there, right along I-55. Now, this is interesting. The storms we had this morning were breaking out here, and the little outflow boundary they kicked out has moved all the way down to Louisiana into and now past New Orleans, and it stretches back into Arkansas. More storms back to the west. Standard summer fare. Our Alpha Insurance Camera Network, our time lapses from Louisville, Mississippi, Vernon, and Durham's Pharmacy, Tupelo, and Columbus this afternoon. In the wake of those storms, a lot of high overcast, not really a lot of action here, but it's been warm and steamy, and we have those storms out there now. A lot of that will go away after sunset, but we can't rule out a shower storm at any time. over the next week here, it would appear, but primarily during the daytime heating. That will be the best bet as we get into our Friday. Same story Saturday, too. We will likely wake up to a fairly quiet start, but during the afternoon, scattered showers and storms. This is Saturday, 4th of July, so just have one of those backup plans, a plan B, in case a storm comes your way. It will move in and it will move out. And then if we're lucky, a lot of the storms will pulse back down after sunset Saturday as we get ready to shoot off a few fireworks maybe in your backyard. 72 degrees tonight, staying very muggy here. A chance for a storm or shower still after sunset. Highs up to around 90, 91, 92 tomorrow. And as we mentioned, the heat index could be over 100 degrees. Pretty warm. Look at how dark red this map is across the southeast on our Friday. Wow, look at all that color. Low 90s, scattered storms. Your AccuWeather 7-day forecast through the weekend, a 40% chance of rain each and every day. A little bit higher, I think, as we get into next week, but temperatures still very steamy, upper 80s to around 90.
WCBI Sports High School football previews continue. The Baldwin Bearcats are up next. Catch the story when we come back.
Your WCBI Sports with Courtney Robb is brought to you by your local Ford dealers. Go further.
We finish our stops in Division 1A on the high school football tour with Baldwin. The Bearcats return senior quarterback Maddox Ritchie from a successful 2019 season, hoping to build on that previous success. The Baldwin Bearcats are stop number 11 on the high school football tour.
WCBI Sports 2020 High School Football Tour is brought to you by Itawamba Community College, Cannon Ford of Starkville, Monroe County Farm Bureau, Max South Broadband, and the Bank of Vernon.
Reloading and rebounding is nothing new for Baldwin football. The 2019 season showed proof of that. After reclassifying to 1A last season, the Bearcats doubled the number of wins from the year before, finishing 8-4.
We were kind of low in numbers over the last couple of years, but those are kind of back. You know, we got a big sophomore and freshman bunch coming in. You know, we're excited about those guys. There's a lot of good players in those groups to go along with the players that we already have. You know, we're excited because, you know, offense and defensive line are both intact coming back this year. You know, we didn't really lose anybody on those sides, and that's always a huge start.
Luckily for Baldwin, a crucial playmaker returns. Baldwin's starting quarterback Maddox Ritchie. In 2019, Ritchie threw for over 2,600 yards, 30 touchdowns, and 8 picks. Baldwin looks for the same impact from him this season.
I just try to win games, that's it. And stats come, but I'm just worried about getting a win for my team.
Just the chemistry with him and everyone else on the team, him with these new wide receivers that's coming up, he's just going to be pretty good.
He had a really good year last year, and we're hoping to build on that. You know, like I said, with all the offensive line coming back, you know, there'll be some new guys at skill positions that played a lot of football last year, but they were young. So now it'll be their time to step up and, you know, help us move forward.
Making the playoffs has become the norm for Baldwin, making an appearance in the last 19 seasons. However, the Bearcats now look to push even further and make a division championship for the first time since 2017.
It's just, you know, stamina, you know, being able to who you get matched up with. You know, that's the biggest thing, and hopefully as the year builds, our skill guys that are a little young and inexperienced, they'll gain experience through the year, and you know, our guys that have experience on the offensive and defensive line and our quarterback, you know, they can carry us until those guys get their feet wet and are ready to perform.
Schedule's always at the start, and I think if you can get over that hump early, it really helps you down the stretch, you know, winning division and obviously get better playoff games.
Baldwin looks to make an impact in its season opener against Kossuth on August 21st.
A killer mentality. We come to smack anyone who comes in front of us.
Reporting in Baldwin on the high school football tour, Courtney Robb, WCBI Sports.
WCBI Sports 2020 High School Football Tour with Baldwin High School is brought to you by Amory Marine Sales Incorporated and F&M Bank.
And the high high school football tour continues on from here. Take a look at the upcoming stops tomorrow. Stop number 12, Amory. Then starting the weekend off is the Manatee Mustangs for stop number 13. Sunday will be all about the Bruce Trojans for stop number 14. And then Monday we kick off the second week of July with stop number 15, Calhoun City. Plenty more to go from there for any of those stops that you may have missed. You can visit our website at wcbi.com. That's it for sports. More for you when we come back.
New downpours scattered across the western half of the area right now, and some of this will carry over for the next couple of hours. Pretty sporadic, it looks like, as we get into the overnight hours. But Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the long holiday weekend, more scattered showers and storms likely, especially during the heating of the day. Higher odds as we get into next week, Joey, but that's standard summer weather around here for early July.
It is. You just have to drive a little slower under those big thunder boomers. All right, thanks, Keith. Good night.